We are on.
Are you excited?
I'm excited. I'm kind of nervous. Not
Why?
nervous. I don't know.
Welcome back to Giver. We're here for another week. Christopher and Courtney broke the internet 2 days ago
Oh God.
with their
Yeah.
announcement that they're bringing in Baby Bum coming
Baby bump.
2024.
I know. You guys, wild times. But this is also why went a little MIA from social media. We can get into all of the things. Like even on a later podcast, like questions, I was really sick at the beginning. But yeah, we are having a baby in 2024 spring. So, not planned, but it's okay. Life sometimes doesn't work on your timeline. Well, that's most of the time. We want it to work on our timeline, but it just throws us for a loop. So, yeah, we're having a baby. I feel like a lot of us, we have like a timeline for life, for things, when we want certain things to happen, how we want certain things to be. And sometimes life does not work on your schedule most of the time, I feel. Well, it can, but a lot of the times shit happens and you just roll with it. And this isn't a bad thing. Was it a planned, like, ready to do it, have a baby right now? No, but will I be great at it and handle it amazing? To the best of my ability, yes, I do think so. But it was a lot to process at first. It was a lot. A lot. Yeah.
Okay, well, take us back. What happened? What were you like feeling that made you kind of know that you needed to pee on a stick?
Oh, I missed my period. But see, this is the thing, Mel. I've missed my period is pretty normal. I'm grateful I got it to a place where it's sometimes not every 28 days. It can be like 29, 30, 31. Past 3 days, it's kind of like, all right, you should probably, pee on a stick. But it's always like even if it's like 3 days late, like even if my flow app says like, oh, it's expected this day, it comes 2 days later, a day later, whatever. It's always pretty spot on. So I just didn't think anything of it. And then like day 4 rolls around. And do you remember we talked and I was like, I had a pregnancy scare. And you were like, I did too. So I had these pregnancy tests, another one at my house from like few months prior, whatever. So I just went to the bathroom literally with zero thought that I could be pregnant. Even your brother was like, oh, maybe you should take a test. And I was like, there's literally no way. I remember I went and dropped my friend off. He was getting a surgery and I went to Whole Foods while he was literally under the knife. I went to Whole Foods, bought my organic tampons, was like grocery shopping, like 0% of me thought like maybe like at all. And then I was like, whatever. It's like 4 days now. Let's just see. Chris was still sleeping. I go to the bathroom. I pee on the stick. It's a plus sign, full on plus. And I was like, I went into a bit of a shock. I went out to the family room. I was like, okay, this is like really happening. And yeah, then he rolled out of the room and people like, I think there are some things like when people are trying to get pregnant, they want to tell their partner in a cute way, or if they finally do, it's like a big deal, right? But I think this was because it was so like, oh my God, holy shit, like I'm pregnant, this is happening. I like told him right away. I was like, go to the bathroom. I think it was a very clear sign that it was a plus sign, but I was like, I think the plus sign might be a little bit faint. And he's like reading the pregnancy pamphlet, that comes in like the box, Mel. Like, well, if it's fate, that means it is. What do you think? What does it say? I'm like, get off the couch, just go look. But it was a clear sign, but I wanted to like get his reaction. So he goes to the bathroom, he looks, he's like, you're pregnant. I'm like, yeah. So yeah, that's the stick story. That's how I found out. August 5th is when we found out. So it's been on the DL for a long time. Obviously, Mel knew, family knew, some friends knew, doctor, like a handful of people knew, but like a lot of people, I don't know, I just kept it. We just kept it to ourselves, which was I don't regret. I think it's whatever people want to do, you know? Like if you want to share it right away. If you don't. So,
I feel
yeah.
like it's the same kind of idea like when we were talking about you inviting people to your wedding. When you have like a lot of whatever you want to call them, people in your life,
Mhm.
acquaintances, whatever, people that you know, things like this are a little bit different. Like you guys have a lot of connections and you probably interact with a lot more people on a weekly basis than like the average person does. Like someone that
Mhm.
has like a quote unquote normal life that's not like high up in business or in the spotlight or anything like that. So it's obviously going to be a little bit different, you know, when you
Mhm.
share this
Mhm.
news, you're not sharing to like your 200 people that you know on Instagram. You're literally sharing to the entire world, right? S-
Right. Yeah, and then you're kind of like then you kind of open yourself up for which is with anything, but opinions, you know, like advice, whatever. I just wanted to really like process this whole thing by myself with my partner and that's kind of that's what I wanted. I don't know. And at the beginning too, I'm not going to lie, because this was very unprepared and I'm kind of I'm not I'm not someone who needs to like prepare everything, but I like to research a pretty good amount like beforehand. Especially with like having a baby. Like certain things to take, stay away from. Like obviously besides like the obvious, right? Like alcohol and whatever. But I don't know. I really wanted to like read the books and do all the things and I mean I wasn't. I was actually literally trying to plan a wedding ironically for the same month that the baby is due of next year. So that's that, but that's okay. And yeah, like I don't know. I guess I wanted to research and do all this stuff. So right when it happened, I'm like, okay, have I been so you start questioning, am I healthy? Like is this going to be okay? Have I been doing the right things? And yes, I have. I live a healthy life, but I don't know, I was nervous. And then the beginning months too, if there's any moms listening to this, I mean, I was trying to find a good doctor. I was in like literally like four different doctors. I was like home birth, hospital birth, midwife, doulas, like looking into all of these things. That was a bit stressful. I had some insurance stuff that was stressful. I finally found someone just like a few weeks ago, and I'm already almost like 20 weeks pregnant, which is like halfway, which is kind of crazy to think about. Um, so that was a lot. There's certain testing like to get done. I had some genetic stuff for myself personally that I'm not going to totally get into right now that came back like, oh, you know, your baby could have this genetic thing. So let's test your partner. So there was just like a lot of things going on that I needed to just like be with. I didn't want to get on the internet and go on Dr. Google or start like posting too early and then having everyone like, I don't know, just the oversharing. Remember, we've talked about this before too, Mel. Like, I would always be an oversharer in the past, like a lot of things. But this was something like immediately I went into like, I don't know, like mama bear mode. And I felt like protection. I'm like, just I don't know, I just felt like protecting the little bean and myself and Christopher and I don't know, I just I didn't want to share it right away. So,
So the social media break happened after you found out.
yes. Yeah. And it's interesting because I already was kind of like, oh, I'm going to be 30. I want to do like a lot of self-reflecting. I should take some time off social media, which I already actually wanted to do, but this just like right away like I found out 2 days later I was off because immediately right when I found out I started I like it's funny because I said I wanted to like research before and whatever. Right when I found out I was pregnant, that day I get online. I'm starting to look at shit. And like I just felt really overwhelmed, and I didn't even feel, like, present in, like, what like, "Okay, you're pregnant, like, let's process this." I just went straight to, like, all of, like, the books and people's pages and pregnancy stuff, and I'm like, "I need to take a sec." So, I just got off completely, yeah. I listened to some audiobooks and stuff when I was off, like, some pregnancy, like, things, but yeah, so that's kind of that break was needed, especially during that time in my life, I felt, for sure, for sure.
And when you found out, you obviously had this, like, state of shock because it's something that you weren't necessarily expecting. How did
Mhm.
you, like, process that? Like, let's say someone was in a similar situation, like, how did you kind of move through it?
This is interesting because at first when I found out, I was in like, "Oh my god, I'm pregnant." Like I was giggling and I was like, "Oh my god, well, holy crap, like this is actually happening." And it was shocking. It was shocking. And then a few days roll by and I actually had a moment of being really emotional. And this is me speaking honestly, not because oh I'm pregnant and my life's over, but it was almost like things are going to change and I did not know if I was like I was questioning myself like am I ready to be a mom? Am I ready to like have that responsibility that's like bigger than myself outside of me? Did I do all the right things? Have I healed enough of my trauma and shit? You know, I'm not married. Like I just started thinking about all these things that I like again wanted to do on like my timeline of no, it should be like this, it should be like this. We're going to do it like this. So when this happened, am I so grateful? Of course. Bringing life into this world is the biggest gift. And it for me, speaking for me, and I'm so grateful. I'm so excited. Same with Christopher. But I had to take a moment to be like, wow. And I cried. I cried. I did. And it's in it and I don't want to feel guilty saying that. And I did. I shamed myself a lot for, a few days later, like having a moment of being emotional. I just think it's because it was such an unexpected shock. I'm like your life is changing. And I'm a very selfish person with my time, with what I want to do, with where I want to go. And it's not about like, oh my God, your freedom's over. You're going to have to give all that up. I know you can still do all that. And life is so much more fulfilling. And I know it will be. I truly do. I just think, again, at first, it was so shocking that I had so back to your question, Mel, I feel like I just had to allow myself to feel that. I had to allow myself to feel scared, to feel like, "Oh my god, am I ready?" I had to allow myself to, like, question myself. I wasn't I did shame myself after, which is not what you should do for feeling an emotion. I'm just like, wow, there's so many people who, want babies or trying to have babies. And I like my heart goes out to you. I don't, I, again, this was such a wow, I'm pregnant, shocking thing that I had to like let shit come up. I'm human. I'm human. And yeah, so I guess like when you're going through something and it's shocking and it's stressful, I think just allowing yourself to feel all the feels, even if you think they're bad feelings, it's not a bad feeling. It's just a part of the human experience that you feel things, even if they're not the best feelings. Does that make sense? Kind of.
I was listening to Gabby Bernstein this morning, and she was
Yeah, I love
talking about
her.
how from like a very young age we can read when our feelings aren't necessarily received and welcomed. And I
Hmm.
feel like it's very, very normal for anyone to experience fear, second guessing, changing of mind, um, doubt when anything's changing in their life, whether it's a good
Yes.
change or a bad change, anything. And I think
Yes.
even when you're talking, saying like, sometimes I don't even think it's like a conscious experience when we have emotions and we just stop them immediately because we learned at such a young age that, like, oh, we're not supposed to feel scared. Pull up your
Mm,
pants and do it anyways. Or, oh, you're not supposed to, like, don't be sad, don't be a victim, don't be all these things. And we avoid having these emotions. And what happens when we avoid these emotions is that we usually end up like doing other things that aren't true to ourselves, whether that's snapping at our partner, whether
mm,
that's losing sleep, whether that's turning to food or alcohol or social media or reality TV or gambling or whatever, like we do, because we're so conditioned to like tune out these feelings that are like literally in our bodies. And I
yeah.
think there's probably a lot of women that have experienced pregnancy, miscarriage, shaming themselves for that. Even new
Mm,
moms that have had these moments where they have these like little babies that they love so much, but they're so tired and they feel like failing and they start second guessing their choice to do this. The
mhm.
more that you like avoid those feelings and those thoughts and try to ignore them and pretend that they're not there, I feel like the more they're actually going to like infest your life.
Yes.
And then you, as soon as you actually let yourself have these feelings, and then there's a whole other side of it, right? Like you start to have these feelings and then you start to shame yourself for having those feelings. And then you're like, "Oh, well, I shouldn't be shaming myself." But like this is all the same thing that you're doing. You're not even letting yourself just literally sit down and experience this. And like
Mhm.
when Gabby Bernstein was talking this morning, she was like, "What would you do if your friend came to you?" Or your baby, your son or your daughter, because they're going to be
Mhm.
your biggest teacher. What would you do if they
Mm,
came to you and they were having these feelings? You're going to listen, you're going to empathize, you're going to tell them it's okay, and they're going to be able to work through it. Imagine
yeah.
you learn how to do that for yourself.
Yeah,
And
which is that's so powerful. So
it's
powerful.
it's such an easy thing to like conceptualize, especially once you've moved through something. But I was talking to
Mhm.
Christopher last night on the phone. Like, how do you actually do that in the moment? So you can actually have space to feel your feelings and to like give yourself compassion and give yourself empathy so you can feel it, which is part of the human
Mhm.
experience. It's literally a gift.
100%.
It's a
Yeah.
gift and you can feel
Yeah.
it and then you can like you're going to be okay. You know you're going to wake up and be the best mom in the world tomorrow. But it's also okay to feel like that today. So
Yeah.
it's such a learning and I feel like the craziest thing was that she was talking this morning and she was like, I remember when I had my son and my coworker messaged me and she was like, meet your like newest guru because this little son is going to be your biggest teacher. And you
Mhm.
can say like, I want to be healed and I want to heal my inner child before I have my baby and I want to heal my trauma with my mom so I don't repeat but like
Yes.
you're not going to,
No.
but your baby's going to come and they're going to help you.
They're
And
gonna be
that's
your
the
mirror
coolest
for
thing
sure.
about it, right?
Yeah. It is. No, it is. It's amazing. Yeah, and it's just I mean, did you and Christopher come to like any like not conclusion, like how do you feel your feelings and like allow yourself to feel them and not shame yourself and that's how you move through it? Or no, were you guys just kind of like just talking about that
The conclusion
topic?
that we came to is that we obviously both grew up with the same parents, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're both very similar.
Yes.
Um, and we were just recognizing that it's a very unconscious thing for us until it's
Mhm.
not. And then as soon as it's not, which is only after the feeling has passed,
Mhm.
and then we feel like a very big release and then there's a lot of reflection.
Yeah.
But there's all that blank space before, right? Where we're usually checked out from our bodies and from our partners and we're losing time, and specifically, we're
Mhm.
losing a lot of connection, and that is very, very, very sad. So, we don't like, the conclusion was, this is a very unconscious experience for us, and we need
Yeah.
to work through it and learn why we do this and how we cannot, and that we both actually chose partners, my husband and his wife, you, that are actually able to feel their feelings very big and very in the moment, and they are very
Mhm.
expressive of their emotions. And at the
Yeah.
beginning, that used to be something that we would fight, that we would look at them and be like, "This is too much, figure it out." And
Mhm.
now we're learning that we actually chose people to teach us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just, everybody's different, right? And like, it's fucking hilarious because I feel like so many times people are like messaging me like, "How did you become so self-aware? How did you this? How did you that?" I am absolutely not. I'm someone that's really good at self-reflection, and I feel like I have I'm intelligent, right? I like to
Yes.
observe and see, but when I'm in my feelings, I am still completely unaware and avoidant of them.
Yeah. But that's a I mean, but that's where the hard part comes in, right?
Yes.
Like, for anyone, like, being aware and not shaming and just being like, "It's okay. It's okay. Like, feel it. Whatever." But, like, and that's where it's difficult because, like you said, you can have amazing, like, self-reflection, which is great. Some people don't even have that, where they can look back and reflect. But yeah, and it's funny because Christopher actually in that moment, he came home and I was like on like the living room floor, just like looking up at the ceiling, like emotional. And he actually helped me through that whole experience. And it's funny because it's like, what if your child came to you crying about something, or they were scared, or they didn't know if they were going to be good enough, or a friend? You would have so much compassion, so much empathy, your partner, so much like love and for that person. But yeah, just learning, turning it back and giving yourself that. It's amazing to lean on people if you have good friends, a partner, family, like phenomenal. I working through that alone because it is such a big life change would have it that, could I have done it? Absolutely. Would it have been very hard? Yes. So I'm grateful that he literally got home within like 5 minutes of me being like, "Oh my god," crying, and helped me and showed me like it's okay. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to feel like you don't have it all figured out, or I'm like, am I doing enough, or am I am I healed so I don't give past shit to my child of trauma and da 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 da, or whatever I was processing in my mind. He's like, it's okay. It's okay. And I'm like, you're right. It is. And worked through it. So, yeah, but at the beginning it was a lot to take in. It was. And I don't know if there's anyone listening who was an unexpected mom, dad, and it's just like I mean, it's a big life change even if you were expecting it, for
Yeah.
sure. So it
Yeah.
doesn't even matter if you weren't unexpecting it. But you know what I mean? I think just that initial, whoa, I've been questioning myself. But we're rolling up on week 20 and it feels good. It feels good to embrace and be happy and be in the moment and like love on myself and give myself a lot of grace during this time and cherish this time too. A
Mhm.
lot of pregnant people or people with moms I've talked to just keep saying like it goes fast, enjoy it. Like just be in it, enjoy it. And even like I've seen things on Instagram too, like all the sleepless nights and all the moments of, oh my gosh, I have to get up and all the things. It goes fast. So like embrace the hard times. Like, yeah, it's gonna be hard, but embrace it because it's short lived and it's every day's a gift. So I'm looking at things differently. And even the days I don't really feel that good, I'm like, well, it will pass. It's okay. And giving myself love. Yeah.
So how did you like pivot from being like, okay, we're engaged, we're getting married, and all this blah blah blah. He's getting ready for the Olympia. Um,
Yeah.
and now we're pivoting. We're like, okay, I'm pregnant.
Yeah. To be honest, at the beginning, after, like, I think I found out it was, like, you're 5 weeks pregnant or you're 6 weeks pregnant or something, which I don't even know how it works. They take it in, like, they look at, like, your last period. Mine was 4th of July, so I don't know how they calculate it, like, and I found out in August. I don't know. But they're like, "Oh, you're 4 weeks pregnant." It's the size according to the app, it's the size of, like, a poppy seed, like like a dot, like, so little. And, I'm like, "Oh, this is okay," or, pregnant, processing the pregnancy. Okay, we get into week 6. I'm like, tell my mom, it was good. And I'm like, this isn't that bad. I don't know why people talk about like getting sick all the time. Like, I'm 6 weeks pregnant already. I feel great. I was training. I'm like, I feel great. Holy shit. Week 7 rolls around. Like week 7 to maybe it was like week 6.5, 7 to 12. I was sick. I'm so grateful I was not throwing up, and I know a lot of moms throw up, and I can't even imagine. But the tiredness. I've been tired. I've competed in shows. I've dieted my ass into the ground. I've been like, oh, like nutrient depleted and all the things and overtraining. I know what like a tired physical body feels like. I've had thyroid issues. Where you're like, holy shit, you feel like you get up and you're still exhausted even after sleeping X amount of hours. But this tired was like, holy shit, tired. I was so tired that I was sleeping until like 11 a.m., Mel. Like literally a rock, sleeping, going to bed at like 9. I'm like, then I wake up and I'm yawning. I'm like, oh my gosh, what the hell? I did have some thyroid things in the beginning. I can talk about that later, whatever. There's so much like little, things I can touch on. But I did have some thyroid things where the baby utilizes a lot of your thyroid hormone to grow and to, change and develop inside your body. So my thyroid like plummeted so bad. Like so bad, which is also like high chance of miscarriage if your thyroid is super 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 low and you're not producing enough hormones. So that was a whole stressor at the beginning, whatever. So I was so tired and I was having so many food aversions and like things like cooking Chris's meat, like the slimy cod. Oh, oh my god. Like this, like, and I can throw like, fish on a pan and like fry it and be fine, have the smell. I'm like, it's whatever, like air out the house. I've never had a problem with it. Like cooking meat is like whatever. But the pregnancy food aversion of meat, disgusting. Certain foods, shit was disgusting. Everything was gross. Some stuff was okay. The thing has been consistent this whole way through is fruit. Love me fruit. I eat like so much fruit every day. But yeah, I felt like I was so like at the beginning, and he was like kind of going through his own shit. He mentioned, you guys, he tore his lat at the beginning of prep. It was a whole fucking thing. So he was going through his shit. So we kind of just like were in our own little lanes while also trying to be like, go to therapy and be a couple and like, work on our stuff. But we were just kind of both focused on, like, I was sick. He was prepping for the Olympia. But it just like there was no really like big huge like does that like there wasn't like anything like, oh my god, this is like the craziest thing ever. We've done Olympia preps together before. We've already been engaged for a year and haven't even started planning a wedding. So it was just kind of like, meh, whatever. Okay, we're gonna just keep postponing this wedding and you're gonna prep for the Olympia, and I'm dealing with my morning sickness, food aversions, tiredness, and we're going to just call it a day. So, but after that, after the Olympia, and after I got over the whole hump of just feeling like ass, it's been good. It's been a lot better. But yeah, that was not good. Yeah, that was not fun.
So
I know.
your second half of your first trimester was a bit rough.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
And then you
And then
started
it got
feeling a bit
better.
better in the third trimester, but you were still like hiding your pregnancy a little bit.
Yeah, I was. I mean, yeah, I was. Training was hard because I was exhausted, so fucking tired. I'm like this tired thing. Holy shit. I feel way better now. But yeah, that really, whew, that was difficult. And then of course I'm like a 2 cup kind of coffee girl a day. No, 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 you can't do that. So yeah, now I do feel so much better. Thank God. And I feel good. I feel happy. I feel like at peace with a lot of things. I'm excited. You know, at the beginning too was like, again, we could talk about another episode. It was a lot of testing. It was a lot of like, is this going to be okay? Is my thyroid or my genes? Is the baby? Is, Chris's genes okay? It just was like, wow. But I let go of a lot of control with that too. Like, yes, it was something, there were stressful things, but I'm like, okay, whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. All I can do is like figure it out, lean into the unknown, be okay with what it is, and it's all going to work out exactly as it should, however it's supposed to be. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, there was a lot of emotional things and whatever, but I also kind of just started to like let go, like just with my high, I don't want to use the word anxiety, but like my overthinking, over worrying, which I guess is a form of being anxious brain in this, and trying to control and make things like perfect in a type of way. And yeah, so it was a lot. It was a lot. There's so much to catch up on the past fucking 20 weeks, you guys. I can't even begin to. There's like all these little missing parts that I haven't been able to really speak on either because it's just been this and keeping it on the DL and yeah. But
How
we're good
was
now.
it supporting Christopher during the Olympia? And how was it trying to hide your bump while you were there? Because your bump was not small.
No, I had a bump. Could you, I mean, well, Mel, you obviously knew, but you couldn't like, if you were to look at me, like what I wore to the night show, I wore like an oversized like bomber jacket from Aritzia and like a dress underneath. Would you look at me and be like, if you didn't know?
First of all, I have to say something. I am absolutely not someone that like tries to figure out people's private business. So I would never like
Yes.
look at a woman and how she's dressing and how she's holding herself and think about it. I
Yeah.
To be completely honest, I have other things to worry about, and I think it's
Yeah.
like I don't even want to like put that energy out there because it's not my business until someone wants to
Yes.
make it my business. So no, I absolutely would have not thought about it at all. Um I mean, I knew you were, and I still was like, I watched all his YouTube. I saw everything on Instagram. I would have never thought that.
Yeah.
I saw like that people had commented and that some people had said things,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't even know how people are like detectives like that because like I am just not.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you kind of just stick in your lane and like you're like, you could really care less, not about me being pregnant, but about like if the girl on Instagram's pregnant or if this YouTuber is pregnant or or is going through a breakup or whatever. It's kind of like, meh, whatever. Where some people like to be detectives a little bit. That's fine. It's all good. We like a good detective. But yeah, I was getting some comments like, was wondering why you're wearing all the baggy clothes. Could it be da 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 da? And I'm like, no comment. But yeah, I usually wear leggings, you guys, and big t-shirts, like a size large t-shirt. It's usually what I wear. So I just had to like move up a few sizes to a different length t-shirt and bigger pants because I'm like everything's constricted on my stomach. But other than that, I'm like, meh. So I got a few comments there. I felt so much better at the Olympia. I wasn't like at the beginning, like in the first trimester and creeping into a little bit of the second trimester, because your second trimester, I believe, starts at 13, 14 weeks. I was still like, yeah, I had some of the tiredness, but it wasn't how it was at the very beginning, and I would still sleep probably till like 9, but at the Olympia, I was up at like, when Chris was up, 7, like, I felt good too. I wasn't like, "Oh gosh, this is gonna be awful." The only thing that was a little bit hard is my posture and standing up in the kitchen, and I told you this, for hours. Like, my lower back, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that started to hurt." But other than that, it just felt like a totally normal. It's never normal, but it felt like a just an Olympia with like that I, you know, wasn't pregnant. Did I go to the gym with him? No. So I guess that was different. I didn't go work out with him. Um, I but everything else felt really good. Actually felt more special, I feel, with this news too. And like it just feeling, I don't know, his speech, I was like bawling, like it felt just very it just felt very special. I can't really put it into any other words besides that.
That's
And I
good.
think a lot of it had to do with obviously the baby and then also just everything he's like been through over the years, like with a prep. And so your brother speaks very well. And I'm like, geez, like these speeches, I was like, oh, that hit me though. His speech really, it got me, but it was beautiful. And I mean, I love supporting him. I love being there. Um, and I'm glad I didn't feel like complete shit, so I could actually enjoy it. But yeah,
Yeah,
it was good.
I feel like he's learned how to be a lot more present and in his body, especially in like periods of high stress. And I'm assuming, I
Mhm.
mean, I've never really experienced that with Ian competing, to be honest, because Ian usually would be very unpresent. Um, but I
Yeah.
can imagine it's probably easier for you as his partner and as his supporter to be present and to experience it when he's leading by example, basically, you know?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, there were some moments where he he was kinda getting in his head about a few certain things, like anyone, but he always is able to kinda just, again, feel things and then just be like, "Okay," kinda lets himself feel it, sits in it. If he needs to be quiet, if he needs to separate himself for a little bit, do his thing, meditate. He's been, like, on this meditation app every day for, like, I don't know, the past however many months. He kinda just does his thing, and then he, like, resets, and he feels really good. So, yeah, he does lead by example. He definitely does, and he's very present, and that's the other thing. Yeah, he was very present and very just, like, he just felt very light during this Olympia. He just felt very it just felt like a different energy. Like he
Mhm.
was he was happy. Not saying he
Mhm.
wasn't happy in the other ones, but it's a high stress, you're fucking at the top and you have to keep performing and it's a high stress a position to be in. So, yeah, he just like really leaned into the moment and that was beautiful to watch.
Mhm.
So, it was good. It
And
was good.
and then you decided to share the news on Instagram. How
Yeah.
did that feel? That must have been
Yeah.
fun, relieving.
It did. I loved you posted like 2 things, and the second thing you posted was like, "Oh, Courtney can finally let her belly breathe." Like, "Thank God." I'm like, I'm so well, like, not even like over like hiding it, but it's hard to like show up or do things or I don't know, and you're just constantly having to like wear things and even when I come to the office and like like there's one girl here who I guess was like, kind of not speculating, but like, "Oh, I kinda had a feeling because of how I just, like, looked, I guess, or walked in, and if things are too tight and, like, my posture's kinda, like, not good, I need to, like, fix it." But, yeah, it felt good to share that and to celebrate it and, like, be really happy about it, and, I mean, we have been very, very happy about it, but to like share that with other people. It was cool. It was nice. And it felt like good too. So I also don't have to like go the whole 9 months, and I can share things about pregnancy if I want, or share different resources or things that have helped me in this, only the 20 weeks I have been. But it's nice that I can like do that and not feel like I have to like I'm not faking or lying, or because if I didn't want to share, it's really no one's business. But I wanted to. So it was like, "Ah, finally, that's done." And not done, but, like, now I can, like, celebrate it and, like, be in it and not have to, I don't know, be weird on social media or go off the grid or whatever.
Yeah, there's something, like, more freeing about being able to just, like, be open about something that you're so happy about, you know what I mean? Like, you don't
For sure. Yeah.
especially if you, like, are in love with, like, your belly and you wanna, like, have it out, like, maybe you wanna show it
Yeah.
because it looks good, like,
Yeah.
y there's all these things that, like, should be empowering and should feel joyous and free, and I think sharing that is, like, part of it, you know what I mean?
For sure. No,
It's
you're
like
so right.
it's the
Wh
same
Yeah.
reason why, like, we post about our marriages online and why we, like,
Yeah.
publicly celebrate people, like, it's not to show off and it's not to make it look like something is, like, greater than it is or better than it is. It's why wouldn't you want to share these things that are so beautiful to you?
Yeah. No, that's beautifully said for sure. And there is something like when you love something to celebrate it. And again, yeah, like you said, not to show off, but just because you're like you love it, you're happy. Like we were in Miami and I was like we went to the beach and like where I was wearing a swimsuit and I looked huge, but I was like cute. I was taking all these pictures. I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually look like I have a stomach now. And I'm at the beach and your brother's like on the chair, like his whole skin's like discolored from the Olympia tan. And I'm like taking all these like bump pictures. I'm like, oh, it's like, it's cute. I don't know. I was happy. And yeah, it's definitely not I wanna, like, show anything off. I just was like, it's just I just feel happy. It feels good to
I mean, I also think it's very normal to wanna show things off that you're proud of, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's not
yeah,
in a, like, conceited way, and, like, that's not to make anyone to feel bad, but, like, why wouldn't you wanna share and show the things that you're proud of, you know?
yeah, yeah. No, for sure, but yeah, it's been a journey, guys. It's been beautiful. It's been a little messy. It's been different. Things change, bodies changing, like, priorities feel like they even change. Like, even just knowing I have a baby coming, it just, like, I feel I don't know. I want to like spend time a little bit differently. I want to focus on things that like I truly feel matter. I don't really just I want to like do things to do things anymore. I don't know. It's just like a different feeling. But I'm excited for this motherhood journey. No idea what I'm about to embark on, but I have faith that me and Christopher will be definitely not perfect parents, but a good team, and hopefully great parents to the little bean. So, it's
How
exciting.
how do you feel like you're, like, experiencing, like, people differently or relationships in your life differently? Like, do you feel like, you're obviously shifting priorities, but, like, in terms of, like, your relationship with your mom, like, or your friends, like, anything like that? Are you having any different experiences?
I feel like with my parents, I love my mom and dad, but I feel like I look at my parents with a lot more grace and, like, love, because they brought me into this world and I already love, like, this little thing that I don't even know. I already love it a lot, and I'm bringing this into the world, and like, it's just, I don't know, I look at my parents like, "Thank you." Like, I I respect you, I'm grateful for you.
Mhm.
And I've looked I love and respect my parents, but it feels different because 'cause I'm going to be a parent now.
Mhm.
And, my mom has always said, "Well, j it's different when, like, you have, like, a child. Things change." You're not in a bad way. Like, you're gonna look at, like, your mom and dad differently, other moms differently. Like, it's going to feel different. I saw something on Instagram too, and it was like a little, like, quote saying thing, and it was like, not word for word, but something along the lines of, like, "To all my mom friends, like, I'm sorry, like, I didn't get it, or I didn't, like, fully understand when had to cancel plans or da da da," or, like, it was like a whole thing, like, I'm a mom now, I get it. And, yeah, not that I've had, like, any not that I have a ton of friends who have kids. I have a handful of friends who have kids. But, sometimes you're like, "I just don't see why they can't do that, or why they're doing this." And I think, I'm not I mean, the baby's growing. I don't have a physical walking child here yet. But, like, I think when you have a child, or you're bringing life into this world, you just start to, like, look at, for me at least, like, parents and people, and, like, your parents differently. I
Mhm.
mean, yeah. So it's it's gonna be an eye-opening experience, and I'm sure I'm gonna learn way more things along the way, and it's gonna be really hard and really amazing, and just all of the emotions.
All of
So,
the things.
yeah. 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 But
Well, there will be a lot to share
yeah,
along the way.
for sure. I just, like, wanted to do a quick little, like, you know, "You're pregnant. How was it? How did you feel?" But yeah, there will be a lot more to share. I mean, there's another there's something too, like, that I want, like, to say is, like, I don't know it all. I don't have all the answers, but I also know, like, when you're pregnant, it can be very overwhelming. For me at least, getting online, reading things, YouTube. So there's so many, like, videos on YouTube where they specify, like, positive birth experience, or positive, baby facts, because there's something about being informed, but there can also be a lot of, like, scarcity and, like, kind of negativity, and reading into things or thinking the worst. And, like, I have educated myself on certain things, with just certain things in regard to birth, that I can get into at a later time, or regarding, you know, hospital, non-hospital, midwife, doctor, OB, whatever, the whole thing. Yes, I've educated myself on things like that, but I think over, like, stressing and worrying, and that's not, like, even a healthy place to be in, whether you're trying to get pregnant, or you are pregnant, or you're one day wanting to be pregnant, or just, like, living or you don't want to be pregnant. It's not healthy to live in, like, a very stressed, tense state. So I don't want to, like, I will share personal experiences, like, from this journey, but I don't want this to be like, "Oh, it's so scary. Oh, it's like, oh my gosh." Like, yeah, it can be a little bit like, "Okay, we gotta take things as they are." And, and you can also opt out of a lot of different testing and whatever. But I don't want this to be like a negative. Do you know what I mean, Mel? Like, I don't want this to feel like, I don't know, I'm putting out negativity about pregnancy or having a baby, because I'm definitely not. I just want to share my experience, not in a negative way. But I know it can be, like, very sensitive for people. Cause even me, like, even if when I got, like, on YouTube and I was, like, looking at stuff, and there were moms just sharing their experience, but it was like scary. Like, I didn't know, oh God, what is it called? SIDS, or sudden infant. I didn't even know what that was, Melissa. Swear to God, didn't know what that was. Then I saw this video, and I'm like, just your mind just starts. I'm like, okay, no, but this woman was just sharing her experience relating to other moms, other parents who might have lost a child. Like it needs to be out there, but I didn't want to fill my brain with not saying her content was negative at all, but just with anything like that. I'm like, I just not right now. Not right now. So, yes, I don't want this to be a place where it's like negativity and all the bad things. We're going to steer clear of that, but I just want to be mindful that like I'm sure things will come up when we talk about pregnancy and a handful of podcasts that I'll just share from my honest, my personal experience, but don't want it to affect anyone. And if you guys don't want to listen, that's totally get that too to the pregnancy episodes. Completely understand. So
Yeah,
cheers to
people
that. I just had to say that.
people get to choose the content that they
Mm.
want to consume for sure. And I think
Yeah.
that's a very powerful thing to realize. I went through my Instagram this morning and I was like, why do I follow all these like skinny hot girls? And I just like unfollowed them all. And I was like, I
You do so good with that, Mel,
I want to
cleaning up your gram and
no,
like,
I was
yeah,
just
you
like,
do.
listen, like you're nice to look at and you're beautiful, but like you're not adding to my life. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm like, unfollow. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to follow Gabby Bernstein. I'm going to follow Joe Dispenza. Like, these are
Yeah.
people that are going to make me and my days better. I don't need
Yes.
to like learn how to, I don't know.
Yes,
I don't
I
know.
already know where you're going with
Whatever.
the vibe.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Sorry.
So I get it. I get it. I get it. I think that's good to do just in general. Take inventory of what you want to consume, what you don't want to consume, clean things up when you need. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Zero.
Mhm.
But before we go, how are you? Let's touch on Mel. I know this was like a whole pregnancy thing, but do you want to share anything? What's been happening? You
No,
don't sound sick,
I'm good. I
but
just have
you're sick.
a little bit of a sickness that
Yeah.
honestly it's not bad at all. I feel like I was like expecting it to turn into this full-blown sickness cuz Dylan made Ian and I sick and he was like
Uh,
off work for a week and he was like dying and I'm like okay. And then I started to get a sore throat and I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to start to feel like shit." Never really felt like shit to be honest. I'm like still
oh,
eating, training, sleeping normally, like everything's fine. I just like can't really breathe and speak very well.
yeah.
But other than that, things are normal here. Ian went to the Olympia, he came back. Um then we're leaving for Dubai next week and
Oh, yeah, you're
yeah,
going to Dubai. Yeah, I'm
his
so excited for you.
his birthday is next week. Our 5-year anniversary is in 2 days.
Oh,
I can't believe it. I can't
yeah.
believe I've been married for 5 years. It's so weird. Like
That's a long time.
it's crazy. I feel like I married him like last year. You know what I mean? Like it feels so
Yeah.
um
Do you think it went fast or no? Or yes?
yeah, I feel like our entire life has gone fast. Like well, it's weird cuz like I don't feel like I had a life before him. Like
Yeah.
I feel like before I met Ian, I was like a child living with my parents and my brother. And then
Yeah.
I met Ian and then like adult Melissa started. That's truly how I feel. Um,
Yeah.
but I also feel like I've only like gotten like a small amount of time with him because I feel like I want so much more time with him. So it's very
Yeah.
complicated. But
Yeah.
um that's that. I don't even think we're doing anything because like it's been so crazy. And then
Yeah.
we come back and then it's my birthday and then it's Christmas and I feel like life is just like moving so fast right now.
Yeah. It
So,
does feel that way.
yeah, I mean
It
probably
does.
especially for
Uh-huh.
you. So I'm just trying to like, you know, slow everything down and like have like moments of intense presence so I can actually like have my days and not have them blur into each other, which is it's
Yeah.
hard when you're busy. The
Yeah.
busier that you are and the people around you are, your days start to blur together and I don't like that feeling. It makes me feel very like
Yeah.
anxious. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's what's going on with me.
You
Um,
have a lot you have a lot coming up.
November and
Like
December they're
traveling.
always crazy for us. But
Yeah.
things usually things usually slow down, like January,
Yeah.
February, I feel like it's kind of when
Yeah.
everyone like you kind of
Yeah.
hibernate and you figure your year out. So, no,
Yeah,
I feel good though. And I'm so happy that you guys are like sharing this, and like the reaction was so cool to see, you know what I mean? Your
yeah.
photos were
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thanks, Mel. Thanks, Mel. I know. They're cute. We're gonna do a
Beautiful.
little beach photos with the belly.
Yeah.
We had to do it late at night because in the morning my belly's not that it's big, but it's not like as protruded. And when I eat, it's like, yeah, let it all hang out. It just expands. Um, but we did it at like sunset night vibes, but it was good. But I'm excited for you. You have a lot going on too. You have a lot coming up. I'm not going to Dubai. I'm very sad, but I will see you the following month.
Yeah, that's gonna come really quick.
I know. Yeah. And Dubai is like it's going to be warm, so different than it's going to be not like it's going to feel probably good. The dry heat, like it's desert there. So, all fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. I feel like people are gonna
Yeah.
really love to hear about your story.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, it's been good. The story has just begun, but yeah, the beginning and everything, it's a journey. Pregnancy is something, but I'm embracing it and here for the ride, and I'm sure we'll be sharing more, you guys. So, thank you for listening. I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for listening. The news is out. I am large and in charge and
Miracle baby
pregnant
bum
AF.
is in Courtney's belly, Mama Court.
Yay. Mama Court. Oh my God. Okay.
Okay,
Well,
we love you
all right,
guys.
guys. We love you. We will see you next
We'll see
time.
you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.